Alrighty, welcome back to another episodic edition of Damaged Chronicles, episode number 6. That's right, today, me and my co-host, well, a big part of the Damaged Chronicles team, have decided we're going to pick 5 random albums to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a random episode here.
We did this. Obviously, the last time we were live, we did this. I brought this up, and we liked it so much, we wanted to do it again.
Right. Yeah, I know the last stream we did, we reviewed the new Halloween track, and we wanted to fill up time. So those 5 albums that we were talking about on that stream, that's just kind of random.
It was a mixture of songs.
Was it 5 or
EPs, basically?
Pretty much, yeah. And, we were just doing it to fill up time because we knew, when we had 15 minutes talking about the Halloween track. So, all right, well, without further ado, we're going to get this episode started. All right, what's going on? Gail, we got Gail from Shadows of Death Records here. So right now we're going to get started here. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry about that. It's Fathom Darkness. All right, yeah, I remember you now. Okay, yeah, Fathom Darkness. Good friend of mine, Cody, over on Facebook. He had a YouTube channel. I don't know if he still has it. He had a one-man project.
He's commenting on this.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I screwed up there. Gil came in here with a different name the other day when we were doing this. Yeah. I'm good. We are getting ready to talk about 5 random albums here on this episode. All right, so what we're going to do right now, I'll have Ryan Arnold, the Demon Master, start off this episode with his number 5 pick.
Well, okay, my first pick, because obviously I wanted to get into some of this, but these are some of the... I had earlier before the stream started, I had compiled so far 2 lists of albums from years I'd wanted to talk about. And so far, the only lists that are kind of complete are albums from years 2011 and 2012. 2012 being the year I started. So I figured I wanted to start off an album from the year... I guess I'll start with an album from the year 2011. And it is, this is this band's second album, entitled Set the World on Fire, from the band Black Veil Brides. Obviously, a very controversial hard rock, heavy metal band that kind of were around. They would instantly be classified as something like you would see a band on Warped Tour. But obviously, their style is basically of the hard rock and heavy metal, kind of in the vein of, say, especially with their image, Motley Crue. Because you look at some of the band at this time, they kind of look like they were the long lost children of Mick Barnes for some odd reason. But
pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously this album is their second album. I believe this was released in 2011. I really don't care about their fan base and their image. I'm only a fan of them because I absolutely love the music. The music is great. You know what you're getting. You're getting that style of hard rock, heavy metal that is akin to some of the glam bands. Especially, Motley Crue, obviously, Rat, even for only one album, Cinderella. You're getting that kind of style of heavy metal. It's very, very modern, very heavy. Everybody in the band does a fantastic job. I forgot, there was some, obviously I remember the title track is a great song. There's just a lot of stuff. I believe his name Jake He's the lead guitarist. His guitar work on this leads and all the solos and stuff, fantastic. I absolutely love this album. And I know a lot of you don't care about this, but if you want to check them out, I dare say check out Set the World on Fire for Black Blood. I can't really remember songs from this album aside from the title track. What else was there? No, not that one. That was from the previous album. But yeah, the album itself, great. I love it. I love the music. Don't care about the fan base or their image. I love their music. So, yeah, there's my thoughts on what is essentially Black Veil Bride's second album. Ben,
Okay.
what do you got?
Well, I'm gonna say something about the Black Veil Brides real quick. Personally, I'm not a fan of the music or the band much. I will say though, the guitar playing that they have is phenomenal. They got great guitar playing. I won't take that away from them. But, personally, it's not my style,
Fair enough.
And got a couple more people here in the chats, I believe. Oh, yeah, we got just joshing here from Mortiside. By the way, I will be interviewing Josh tomorrow night, and we will be talking about Mortiside here on Metal Bent Chronicles, so you'll all want to stay tuned for that. Now, my number 5, the album I picked for number 5 is an album that came out way back in 1984, and I went with German heavy metal band here called Avenger, who would later go on to become Rage, with their debut Prayers of Steel. Now, this is pretty much before they would dive totally into speed metal. There's a lot of new wave of British heavy metal influence on here, naturally, like bands of that time. A lot of them had that new wave of British heavy metal influence to their style. But yeah, you get some great tracks on here, like the opening track, Battlefields, is a tremendous track. It's fast, definitely has a raw Diamond Head type of feel to it, I guess you would say. And yeah, there's other great tracks on here too, like the title track, Prayers of Steel. They got a track on here called Halloween. I guess back in the 80s, it was pretty big to have a track called Halloween. I mean, Halloween did it. King Diamond obviously did it, and the Misfits did it, and Sam Hain did it, But yeah, this is a really good debut album in my opinion, And not long after this, they would change their name over to Rage and release several albums. In fact, they have 26 studio albums total, and they're still putting out albums to this day. Yep. So anyways, that is my number 5.
Yeah. Mine. Trying to go through some of these, and I figured I'd now go over and pick an album from 2012. My next one is the second solo album from Jeff Loomis called Plains of Oblivion. This was obviously 2 years after the last Nevermore album, and he's obviously since then he did solo Conquering Dystopian. He's now currently an arch enemy. But at the time, I was kind of a little bit excited about this. Saw someone review it, thought I would get it. I forgot the bassist. Obviously, Jeff is on here doing the guitars and all the guitar leads and solos and stuff. Dirk Verburen of Megadeth is on here. Oh, and he's also former Soilwork drummer. He does the drums on here, and there's been several vocalist. There was a female. I forgot her name, but also on here, play on a song called "Surrender." Eson, formerly of Emperor and his solo stuff.
Yeah, Eson's on it. Yeah,
and not to mention, I believe there were some guitarists who did some guest solos. Marty Friedman on the song, I believe, Mercurial. For some reason, I remember that. Right. There was some, I believe, Tragedy and Harmony was one of them, but I forgot the female's name. I actually might just pull out the CD case real quick. Oh, and try to remember where this is at.
Oh yes, by the way, that episode for Morticide for tomorrow night will be at 9:00 p.m.
Okay, here is the CD, and I have to pull this out. Let me see. Christine Rhodes. She does vocals on songs called Tragedy and Harmony and Chosen Time, and obviously Surrender. Vocals on Surrender were written and performed by Eson. And like I said, there's some other ones on here. Marty Friedman, former Megadeth, Tony McAlpine, guitar virtuoso. Chris Poland, probably the first Megadeth guitarist, is on here, and I believe someone named Attila Voros. Oh, and the bass is played by Shane Lentz. But I say, here's the album, by the way. Pretty cool. But yeah, I believe the songs on here that are standouts: Mercurial, which features Marty Friedman. Surrender is a highlight. The Ultimatum, I believe, is the song I believe that's the song with Tony in it. Yeah, Tony McAlpine is on The Ultimatum. It's an awesome track. But you know what you're getting. Majority of this album is completely instrumental, aside from the 3 songs from Christine Rhodes and Eson, which are... The Eson one is fucking awesome. I fucking love that song.
Right.
But yeah, I absolutely love this album, and yeah, it's just an instrumental album, and I absolutely love it.
Well, after all, this Jeff Loomis, one of the greatest metal guitarists of the last 25 to 30 years.
And then maybe at some point I would do a retrospective on him and probably include the Concrete Dystopia album. Because to be honest, I do kind of consider it to be kind of a Jeff Loomis solo album in some cases. Even though that has Keith Marrow, Alex Webster, and Alex Rudinger in it. But I do still consider it to be a Jeff Loomis solo album. It's just in super good form.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, Jeff Loomis, one of the great shredders amongst modern metal.
I have been wanting to... that was my first album from him that I ever got, believe it or not. Never got any Nevermore. This was the first Jeff Loomis album I ever got, so I'm glad it's my first, and I absolutely love it. But Ben, what is your second album you want to talk about?
Well, I definitely highly recommend Nevermore. If you have not ever heard Nevermore, by far, you will not be disappointed. All right. Well, in my blind picks, I picked out the third album by these German thrash metal veterans, a part of the big 4 of German thrash, up there with Creator, Sodom, and Tankard. I went with Destructions, released from Agony. This is a great album, man, I'm telling you. Now, this album, they strayed away from the satanic stuff that they did on their first couple of albums, and they went for more political and social issues, more worldly issues, But it's a great album. Beyond Eternity opens the album. What a brilliant opener to this album. It's just real melodic, a bunch of neoclassical shredding behind it, Really good stuff, some great harmony guitars. And the title track, released from Agony, a great thrashy tune. Dissatisfied Existence is another great track. Now, on this album, I noticed, too, that it's a bit more, melodic in nature, but also a bit more mid-paced in nature, too, compared to, the first two albums, Eternal Nightmare and Infernal Overkill, and the debut EP Sentence of Death. So it's definitely a more mature type of thrash metal album in a lot of ways. Lots of good stuff on here, though. Sign of Fear, another great track. Unconscious Ruins is a really excellent track, too. I mean, Incriminated's great. The whole album's great. I mean, what more can I say? It's one of Destruction's best albums, in my opinion, and a thrash metal classic that I would definitely recommend checking out. You know, like I said, it's not like straight up speed the whole way through. It's got some mid-paced tracks on it, some melody on it. Yeah, definitely way different, like I said, compared to the first two Destruction albums and the EP. And the thing I like about Destruction, too, unlike the other thrash bands in the Teutonic thrash scene, is they do add neoclassical influences. Even back on, the EP Sentence of Death, when they were doing more of a blackened thrash, they even added elements of neoclassical in it to make it sound different. I mean, overall, I just love Destruction. They're still active today and still putting out killer material. All right, you're number 3.
Well, my next one, my third album that I will talk about. My next one, another 2011, getting back to 2011, is the self-titled 2011 album from alternative metal, sometimes rock band, Stain. This was, for a while, their most recent album. As after that, they all went on hiatus shortly after that, but they've gone back together, and I'm really excited. I wish I could show it, but this album is easily their best album that they've ever done. Songs like Not Again, what was his name? Crap, I'm trying to remember. Wannabe is another one, a really great, kind of a little, I don't know, talking about probably internet trolls and stuff that sit behind their keyboards and living in their parents' basement and stuff. Really freaking cool and funny song. Well, that's kind of a cool lyrical themed song right there. I will say that. I believe the last track on there, I forgot what it was called, but it's a beautiful ballad. Shoot, I'm trying to remember what other songs I remember off the top of my head. Fuck. I'm trying to. There were some songs that I'm trying to remember the names of, but I can't really come off the top of my head. But all of them, there are some. There's some killer songs on here. It was a freaking awesome album, and I'm kind of a little bit excited for when they put out their next album, which I will definitely get in. Would love to talk about it when it comes out. But I guys, this was one of my, I believe this was, if I were to ever ranking the 2011 albums, this would easily be my number 3, only behind Anthrax Worship Music and Dream Theater's A Dramatic Turn of Events. It was easily that great of an album. Easily. But yeah, I picked this one, Stain self-titled. If you're into this band, if you're not, if you're into I will say it is very aggressive. It is very metal. Mike Mushak does some great solos on here. Aaron Lewis's vocals are fantastic. He does the cleans and he does some, I wouldn't say they're full-on growls. They're more like mid-tempo, just, kind of a yelling vocals and stuff like that. And really, they were angry. And also this was the last one to feature the original lineup, I believe, because their drummer, after the album was recorded and stuff, left. And they've gotten another guy to be on the drums, but obviously it was the last one. And for this one to be the last one of the original lineup, they went out on a fucking banger.
Yeah. I know they did a really good documentary of them in the studio when they were making that album. Yeah, they were definitely angry on that album.
Yeah, so they were like, you know what? All this pent up rage and emotion, let's put it all into this album, and make a banger. And they made a fucking banger of an album. But yes, Stay and Self-Titled, freaking the
Yeah,
best.
it's definitely
Their best, easily one of their best albums. It's probably even their best since Break the Cycle from 2001. Freaking fantastic. But yeah, there's my little review of Stain's self-titled 2011 album.
yeah, it's definitely a heavy, angry album. Definitely a return to the heavier side of Stained. Probably their heaviest album since Dysfunctional, I would say.
Wow, yeah.
Of course, after that, Aaron Lewis went on and did a bunch of country solo albums, and now Stain's back together. So,
yeah, Mike went and did some other stuff too. I believe he does a project with Adam Gontier, and obviously he was on the debut full length with Newstead.
Yeah, I was just
before that ended.
Yep, with Jason Newsted on that album. Yeah, it's a shame that project never continued. I actually like that album.
Saint Asonia is the band he does with Adam Gontier.
I never heard it.
Their debut is freaking awesome.
Is it heavy?
Yes.
I've never heard it.
That might be an album, if I were to get the chance, I would definitely review it.
All right, let's check out the chat here. Angel Venom. We got Angel Venom, which is Cody again.
Yeah, he just changed it.
I decided I hated Fry Curls. Yeah, Fry Curls. Sounds like a weird ass name.
Yeah.
Anyways, how is everybody doing? Or how is everybody? Or how is everyone? Hey, we're fine. We're living.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
We're doing good. Just work, And we're giving you an episode of Damage Chronicles here tonight. So we're fucking good and we're fired up and ready to go.
Hell yeah.
I'm not really into my own music. Oh yeah, we got just joshing. Yes, 9 o'clock Eastern time. You are right. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 o'clock my time tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, whatever you want to call it. That's when the Morticide interview will happen with Josh. Anyway, my number 3. Pretty obscure thrash metal band here. Now, I believe this band's I think they're from the UK. They only got they got 3 albums out. They put out an album in '88, and this is their sophomore release. I'm talking about the band Torin Nega. Trying to get a right angle here. Trying to get that glare out of there.
Yeah, there
and
you
the
go.
The CD is called God's Gift. And this was actually put out on a major label. It's on Chrysalis Records. Which Chrysalis Records also had Armored Saint at one point.
No, never heard of them.
Well, this was a blind buy for me as a kid. Now, I had it on cassette originally. I used my allowance money to get it. It was in the $5 bin. This must have been around 1991 when I got it, and I liked it, I looked at the album cover, I'm like, this looks cool, and I grabbed it, and I enjoyed it. Anyways, I purchased this again on CD last year on eBay, and I was shocked how cheap I found it for, because this CD is quite rare, and it is pretty pricey, the original pressing, and this is an original pressing. But man, now this band is like a combination of thrash metal and doom metal. There's a lot of Sabbath riffs in here. And the vocals are kind of like a David Wayne from Metal Church, or a Bobby Blitz Ellsworth from Overkill, kind of in that style. But the opening track, The Shrine, is a great beginning to the album. Starts out with really doomy riffs. Then it gets fairly thrashy. The riffing on it kind of sounds like, I would say the riffing's kind of like Injustice for All era Metallica. And it's a pretty epic track. Psychotic would be the next track, a really great track. I would say probably my favorite track on here, at least one of my favorite tracks, is Swords of, if I'm pronouncing this right, Sword of Damisols. Sword of Damisols. Freaking excellent track, man. Again, it's another one of them tracks that begins with the slow, doomy Sabbath riff, or a Candlemass type riff, you know? You get some thrashy parts in it, but man, it's good stuff. Great guitar solos in this track, too, very melodic. Which to me, the solos are kind of like a throwback to like a Ride the Lightning type of sound, you know? It's really cool. Hammer to the Skull is a great thrashing tune. Food for the Gods is great, you know? Yeah, there's just a lot of great stuff on here, man. But yeah, Tornega, God's Gift from 1990. It has been reissued since. But yeah, I'm still lucky in having an original pressing of it. Really good, underrated thrash album, though, from the UK.
Alright, sorry, I had to go and turn my camera off for just that little bit. But obviously, my fourth pick is the second full length from the band Periphery, entitled Periphery 2. This time it's personal. Their second album, released on Sumerian Record. They are a gen band, progressive and stuff. Fun little fact. One of the guitarists on here, if I can figure it out, one of the guitarists on here, Jake Bowen, happens to be related to John Petrucci. They're, I believe, cousins and stuff like that.
That's interesting.
And John Petrucci actually does a guest solo on this album, along with, I think, Wes Houch from The Faceless, and at the time of The Faceless, but he says he's done solo stuff and all that, whatever he does. And I believe they also have Guthrie Govan on here. But it's not like, it's very much more, some moments sound like the gen style, but obviously they take that style and make it a little bit more, I guess you could say, enjoyable, more melodic, very much more progressive than, say, bands like Tesseract or Born of Osiris, where they got more melody and are more progressive. They aren't afraid to do long songs. Like, they've only done, I believe, three songs over 10 minutes in their careers, but they're not afraid to do long songs. But some of these songs are relatively short. Some of them are catchy. Like, I think some songs like freaking what was it? Make Total Destroy, which was the single they released. Freaking chaotic. They can bring in the chaotic. One of the other cool thing about this band is they have three guitarists. Obviously, cool. Jake Bowen, Misha Mansour, who is the main guitar player on there, and I think Mark Holcomb is the other guitarist. They have a studio bassist by the guy named Adam Nolly Getgood, and I believe the vocalist is Spencer Sotelo, and he does kind of the combination. He's kind of, traditional, kind of that metalcore singer, does cleans and does growls, kind of like a Howard Jones or, say, freaking, others who do that, Michael Ackerfeld, such and such, Songs I like on here, Make Total Destroy, I believe, Have a Blast. I believe the opener, I forgot what it was called, but it was kind of a little interlude, and it was a really cool, and it built up a little bit, kind of slow at the beginning, but then it picks up right in the middle and towards the end, and it's freaking good. There was another one I forgot. I can't remember what it was. I think it has something to do with. It was something having to. I know the lyrics were kind of or something like having to do with Scarlet. That's what it was. The song was called Scarlet. Pretty freaking cool song. There is a lot of good stuff on here that I do like. But I do say if y'all want to check it out, if you now want to select the Meshuggah style or something like that, you want something that's more, I guess, more melodic, more catchy, more progressive and stuff, definitely check these guys out.
All right, cool. Well, looks like we got Xavier that wants to join the chat room here. Should I let him in, or should we finish off our picks?
Your call.
I'll let him in.
Hey guys.
All right. But
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
Yeah, same here.
we were just making our picks. I just made my second to last pick. So, Ben, what is your next pick?
My number 4 pick. Okay. Now, this band's from Germany, which a lot of the bands I usually pick are from Germany. Anyway, this band only released 3 albums, and haven't heard anything from them since. I think their last album came out in 2003. But the band's called Blackened. Mental Game Messiah is the name of the album. It's their second album. This really has a strong and Justice for All type of sound to it.
Yeah,
now, the vocals
because their name was. You would think because their name came from the song Injustice called Blackened.
Pretty much. So yeah, they are basically a German band that's really influenced by Injustice for All era Metallica, and you can definitely tell in the music.
So
the vocals are really weird.
They're more into the progressive thrash style, basically.
Pretty much.
Injustice for All was.
I would say that too.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah. There's thrashy stuff on it, like these song titles too. Come on now. The Eye of the Deserver. Come on now.
Oh, it's that.
Oh god! So yeah, they just said Eye of the Beholder and just Eye of the Deserver.
Yeah,
I get.
Definitely tell the influence. Now, not all the songs have Metallica references, but it's a decent opening track. Definitely kind of has a Blackened feel to it. Detect the Crack, pretty mid-paced, has some chunky rips. Mental Game Messiah, the title track.
The one thing I have to say is is bass audible on this.
But yeah, Mental Game Messiah, again, kind of mid-paced, I guess. It's got a lot of tempo changes in it. Yeah, Burn the Fuse is thrashy. Beyond Forever is kind of melodic and thrashy. Yeah, it's pretty much a Metallica and Justice for All worship band. But, it's kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, like I was trying to say, does it have bass, at least?
Does it what?
Does the album have bass audible, at least? Unlike Justice, where we all know, the bass.
Oh, yeah, you can hear... Yeah, you can hear all the instruments. You can hear the bass and everything in it.
Okay.
So,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. You learn from the mistake of Injustice for All. That's a good
yeah,
thing.
it's just musically, it's kind of like Injustice for All.
Just with better...
And the vocals... Yeah, well, the vocals might be a turn-off at first because you can really hear the German accent in the vocals.
Like imagine... Creator has the same thing.
Pretty much. Like, imagine if James Hetfield was German. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Blackened with Mental Game Messiah. Came out in 1999 on Massacre Records.
I remember that label.
Yeah, that's a pretty good label.
Sickening Gore was on that label.
Yeah.
Oh, Sickening Gore.
I don't know if they're still around.
They are. They put out the new Sinister. They put out the new Sinister, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
so Sinister's on that label. Okay.
Yeah, now they are. I don't know about
Nice.
back then. I know they were on Nuclear Blast before that, but
Right. That's what I thought. Yeah, they were on Nuclear Blast for a long time.
their whole entire career was on Nuclear Blast.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, joining us in the chat is Xavier from Sadistic Oppressor.
Yes.
So, Ryan, you got your number 5 ready to go?
Yes, my final pick. My final pick is the 2011 release of one of the most influential, obviously, fans of the melodic death metal and the Gothenburg sound. In Flames with Sounds of a Playground Fading. Released on Century Media. Yeah, I don't know how many albums they've done after that, but obviously everybody knows when it comes to them. Horacle, Clayman, Jester Ray. This is kind of a little bit later.
Wait a minute.
This was a little bit of a later album for them. And this was, I believe, the first album from them I got. Like I said, released 2011. It's got some great stuff on here. The title track I do absolutely love on here. Trying to remember some other songs on here. Oh crap, I forgot what it was. I think The Attic or something like that. It was just a little short track. And then there are some other great songs, like more of the back half is really, really great on this album. I absolutely love it. I think one of the songs where I can't remember some of the songs on that they had released music videos for, but the ones they did release music videos for are really great. I just wish that the title track got a better treatment for a music video instead of just them playing it live. I imagined they were going to do something cool with it, and then them just doing a live version of it. I was like, fucking lazy.
That is pretty fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the theme, you would think of something like maybe some foggy atmospheric area. You can barely see anything. You might see some play sets and all that stuff, and then sometimes you'll see the band playing in that and stuff like that. I would have thought that would have been really freaking cool to see.
You know what I think too, and this is what I hate about when they do reissues all the time. They always put the most lamest shit ever for like the bonus tracks.
They do.
They either put like the most lamest shit ever, like a fucking, like, oh, you want to hear them live? Like the songs that you don't care about?
Right. It's like, why do we want to hear them live?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like the one. That's the one reason I can't stand live albums.
Right.
Yeah. This is an awesome album. Obviously that melodic death metal, really great style, and for a while for me, the last great album from them until what was it? Their most recent album. I forgot what it was called. Was it I Am Above or something like that? Or something like that. I forgot. It was a 2019 album, which was a great album. I absolutely love that one. But yeah, this is the last album I wanted to talk about. And so Ben, what is the last album you want to talk about?
I have a few albums.
I know I bought that In Flames album back in 2011 and it got returned back to FYE. I'm like, this album sucks.
I
remember FYE.
I'm just not a big fan of modern In Flames. Anyways, my final album. Okay. Fairly new band. Part of the new wave of traditional heavy metal, which is pretty similar to the new wave of British heavy metal. I'm talking about Riot City. Their debut album. Man. If you want some good new wave of British heavy metal sounding metal right here, you gotta check this out. I mean, Burn the Night is what the album's called. They are currently working on a new album. I'm telling you, man, the vocalist on here, man. Man, can that guy hit some freaking high notes. Jesus Christ. The riffing on here is definitely pure 80s. I mean, it does. It sounds like it came out in 1983. as opposed to 2019.
Exactly.
I mean, you got fucking excellent tracks on here like Warrior of Time, Burn the Night, which is a pure raging speed metal track, In the Dark, which is a pretty kind of a Queensryche influence type of track, like early Queensryche, like on the EP. That's the kind of vibe I get from it. Living Fast, The Hunter, Still Rider, 329, Halloween at Midnight. Yeah, just a great album. Straight up pure heavy metal, speed metal. And that's my number 5, and we'll let Xavier talk.
All right. I'm going to give my list because I'm a little bit late to this, and I'm going to show you what I've been listening to these past few weeks of, like, albums. First and foremost, Funabur's Children of Scorn.
Nice.
If you like Finnish death metal from the early 90s, that sounds a lot like Convulsed, Demigod, and Demilich.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should go for. I mean, it was released in 91, so it explains a lot. It's probably like the first of its kind.
Nice.
Obviously, if this is another good one I've been listening to, and this never gets old for me because I've been listening to this for a few weeks now, and I still am digging it. Brutality, Screams of Anguish.
That's a great album.
Okay. I would say for early 90s death metal, if you're a fan of like Monstrosity, Ripping Corpse, Disincarnate, Morbid Angel, and like Death, like during their human / like spiritual healing era, you will definitely like this record. It's like everything you would like in death metal, it's here. Which brings me on to another pick, which is Death Rash, but still, I've been listening to this for a few minutes. Fucking Devastation, Signs of Life.
Sweet.
This album is fucking good. Beginning to end.
Killer band.
Yeah. People go between Idolatry and this. I would choose this over Idolatry because it's a way more heavier. And it's a really good album, beginning to end. I have some other thrash. I have with me that is really fucking good that I've been listening to. Nocturnal, Nothing But Hatred.
Nice.
If you like Hell Witch, Ripping Corpse, and like and later Pleasure to Kill Creator era, you'll definitely like this record. It's fucking nuts. It's they have blast beats in it. It's like imagine Pleasure to Kill with blast beats. That's pretty much what it's like, but way more technical. Yeah. Which brings us on to my another one, Sickening Gore, Destructive Reality. If it sounds a lot like Deicide Legion era, to be honest.
Nice.
So that's like my 5 picks I've been listening to.
All look like awesome albums there, CDs. Definitely some killer looking stuff there,
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we're about 43 minutes into the stream. Anybody want to chat about anything else?
Let's see.
Just kind of looking at the chat room here. Nothing going on in the chat. I don't know, Ron, do you got anything to chat about? If you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I really don't. Other than maybe the next time I would do this, there might be bands I will definitely listen to more and get more of an opinion and stuff like that. But I think for now, I am kind of a little bit happy. I am happy I was able to talk about those bands, the albums, and all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm content with these, but until I'm like, I'm really, really satisfied with me talking about them and stuff like that. I am content with what this is.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep doing. We will keep doing these episodes. I mean, you know, like kind of a random
I'll just be
episode
more.
here tonight.
I'll just be more because I really was. I really didn't know if I wanted to. I was like, I might join. I just need to think of albums, and I just knew of albums that I kind of knew about, but I didn't really want to go into that much. I just want to be able to be like, I talked about these. Maybe the next time, maybe if we did this again, I might do a more revised version where I've actually listened to the albums all the way through and actually would have an opinion and maybe talk about some songs.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that would definitely be the best thing to do. Listen to the full album.
This is a flaw
Get
in
an
your opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
To get an idea of what the album's like. You know.
There's some
I just
atmospheric
pretty
death
much
metal I
just
listen
gave-
to.
I just pretty much gave
Atmospheric, oh, nice.
overview. A general overview of the album, basically.
So, what atmospheric death metal bands have you been checking out?
Infester. And this one other band, I forgot what it's called, but they're from Wisconsin, I think. They have one album in '95 that sounds a lot like Demilich and Infester, I would say. But it's really good, though.
Interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like atmospheric death metal. Some atmospheric death metal usually have like, or they'll add like keyboards in it.
Yeah. People
Kind of like,
Progressive,
Oh, yeah.
progressive and melodic death metal do that. They use keyboards and stuff.
I mean,
yeah,
shit. I mean, Morbid Angel used it on almost everything.
pretty much.
Ugh.
Blessed are the sick death. Really, they used it.
Yeah, even Altars had that too.
Right. Yep.
Almost everybody had it at one point.
Right. Yeah, it's just the way they use it's much darker compared to how melodic death metal used it.
Obituary used it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody used it.
Yeah. Nocturnus. I think Nocturnus used them too.
Well, that's because it was done during their whole entire career.
Pretty much. And of course, Entombed on Left Hand Path.
Yeah.
I think everybody used it at one point. I mean, shit. Maybe your favorite death metal band probably did use it. I mean, probably
Right.
maybe Autopsy, fucking Death probably used it at one point. Everybody used it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only style of music that's not really common for keyboards is probably thrash metal. Well, and obviously hardcore punk.
Well, you'll never see that. Well, you'll never see that in hardcore punk.
Oh, hell no.
I highly doubt you'll find that there.
No. I did notice on Destruction's release from Agony, which I did talk about, they actually do use a little bit of keyboards on it, which is kind of different.
They did use it on that record, but it wasn't really like well
Yeah, it
known.
was like, yeah, they used it on the opening instrumental track. I think there was another track on it they used it for too.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I mean, I've used keyboards on my Holocaust demos a couple of times.
Same on my fucking album. I've used keyboards.
Yeah, I would use it too whenever I do start recording stuff. Maybe if I ever do start making music and stuff, which I want to at some point, keyboard would be kind of a more, because with it being more influenced by melodic and progressive death metal, they would be more of a prominent feature alongside, say, the guitars, the vocals, drums, and bass, and all that stuff. Everything would be equal sound and stuff like that.
True. I mean, depending on the track too you're writing, sometimes a keyboard part. Sometimes it calls for a keyboard part or a atmospheric part.
Yeah.
And it kind of fills it out or whatnot.
Yeah, make it more. Obviously, with this case, have it sounding more obviously epic, cinematic, and sounding and stuff like that. It can all be in different cases,
Right.
Right.
It just all depends on the atmosphere of the track you're writing and, what you feel for it, for the most part. All right. Well, I think that's all I pretty much have for this stream. Nobody else has anything.
Yeah.
I pretty much mentioned everything that I said in the last live stream, which is except Worst to Best coming out this Friday, and then obviously my Forgotten retrospective the next Friday. Plus, not to mention, this Friday, I guess I should mention this, is that I'm going to be doing, I guess, a live stream on Twitch since I just did give me a new controller for my Xbox. So I'm going to be doing more racing stuff, doing more live streaming on Twitch and stuff. And I think one of the things I'm going to be streaming will be a race in this really cool autism-themed Formula E car, running the rest of the year, but having different paint schemes for it. But obviously this month, with it being autism awareness, I am just giving awareness to it and running this really cool paint scheme for these next 2 races in April, and then pretty much race the remainder of the season. And trying to maybe get wins and hopefully a championship. I only missed 2 races, but yeah, that's something I'm going to be streaming Friday. So yeah, y'all can check it out.
Okay.
That's the thing I have to say.
Alrighty. So how's the writing process going for Sadistic Oppressor there, Xavier?
It's going pretty good. We're on to we're almost done with the record.
Oh, nice.
We still need to figure out artists and whatnot to make the album cover.
Right. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Now, to get CDs pressed, how did you go about getting CDs pressed? I mean, this is all stuff I'm learning, too.
CDs I got pressed from a few different places. One was originally me doing it through computer, which took for fucking ever.
You can actually through computer?
You can do it through a computer, but it's going to take you a while.
I believe it. Okay.
It took me fucking 4 days just to get the thing to get downloaded. I'm like trying to get the
days.
4 fucking days, yeah, to get.
Yeah.
And I'm talking just the promo tracks. There was no full album yet. I only had 3 songs.
Yeah.
I was just shipping around to labels thinking you might buy it, but obviously they never came back to me, so I'm just like, okay, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Right.
And
sometimes that's when you gotta do it.
Yeah, I was just like, I need to get this out. I can't depend on a label because they're not going to do shit for me right now.
Right.
So, oh well.
Which sucks, but it is what it is. I mean,
yeah.
I noticed a lot of bands nowadays aren't even on record labels, that are putting out albums.
Yeah, they're on like fucking these smaller labels like fucking Maggot Stomp.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't like that label.
They're called Maggot Stomp?
Yep. They're a trend boy. Let's put it this way. They're one of those trend boy labels that's just like, oh shit, let's just jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, this sounds popular. Let's sign them. Then a couple years later. Yeah.
Everything that sounds like Mortician, let's just sign them for no fucking reason.
Right. And then when the trend dies out, we don't give a fuck about that band no more.
They literally just turned into something else.
Pretty much. oh, okay, now we're going to sign, I don't know, say metalcore becomes big again. Okay, now we're going to sign a bunch of metalcore bands. It's like, come on.
I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that, you know.
They
for
say that
reference.
shit. They say that shit all the time. It never happens.
Right. Look, I remember back in the, it would have been back in the mid 2000s. You know, Metal Blade Records, obviously. There was a period where Metal Blade just signed all these metalcore bands, or all these mathcore bands, and most of these bands you don't even hear about no more. They're practically all gone. You know. So yeah, Metal Blade was kind of trend hopping when metalcore was pretty huge.
Yeah, it was kind of lame too. I'm not gonna lie.
It was.
Well, I guess you can say the early incarnation of metalcore was kind of a little bit, I guess, more on the hardcore style than what it would later become. You know, bands
In the
like
beginning,
Oliver
it was,
Mason,
yeah.
like Dying, Killswitch Engage, you know, bands like that.
Yeah, then everybody started trend hopping.
Pretty much, because they were signing all these bands like the Red Chord, If Hope Dies. And those bands, they might have put out one or...
Red Core, Whitechapel.
They might have put out one. Yeah.
Jumper Cowboy early on, but then they kind of switched over to becoming more technical and, in some cases, progressive death metal a little bit, especially on their most recent album, Sun Eater. They kind of started... Jumper Cowboy was one of those that started shifting their sound drastically from the Doom EP they did, especially then getting to Genesis, which was more technical death metal and stuff and all that stuff.
But anyways, like I was trying to say, like, yeah, them bands might put out one or two albums, then they're gone and nobody gives a fuck about them. You know, and the bands break up or do whatever. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like you're either real to the music or you're not real to the music. You know, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I remember that because I went to a lot of shows around that period. There were so many metalcore bands. There was just metalcore bands popping out everywhere.
I didn't even care about it, to be honest.
Nah. I mean, at first I thought, okay, this ain't bad. It's better than new metal. But after a while, I just got sick of it. I got sick of it pretty quickly, actually. I'm like,
yeah, that's it. I guess I'm one of those that actually does like that kind of style.
I just left immediately. I didn't.
It was because of that I was starting to veer more, I guess, more towards the melodic. I guess I'm more of a guy who likes more of the melodic and more progressive stuff. So metalcore is kind of, it's got melody and stuff like that, so it's more of a genre I listen to more than, say, regular or technical death metal. Although there are bands and some of those I do actually like say Dying Phoenix, I do kind of care about, although I don't care. Although I have not listened to Wrong One to Fuck With, I would definitely, because I do like Dying Phoenix. But it's just that as I got a little bit older, I started getting away from that style. The brutal, the regular, the traditional, technical death metal. I was going more towards, in terms of the death metal, more melodic and progressive. So metalcore is something I actually do enjoy a little bit more than, say, you name me any band from like old school or traditional, brutal or technical, I'm gonna say sorry, it's a no for me.
well, yeah, I mean, the metalcore stuff, I don't listen to it at all anymore, to be honest. I'm like, whatever.
I never listened to it.
Yeah,
But,
I
you know,
want to listen to it more because, I'm more...
I mean, being much older, being in my 40s now, I was around.
Sometimes when you're...
I was around when it's coming up.
Sometimes when it's like, when you're at when it's like our age, then 30 and, in our 40s, we start, you start listening to stuff that's a little bit more easier to the ear and stuff, and more enjoyable than, say, something that just comes out at you and just catches you off guard and stuff like that. I'm like,
Oh, I still.
turn that off, shit.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I still love shit that's hard to the ears.
I'll be in my 50s and I'll be saying, "Fuck this crap, old school death metal." Jesus God, no. I'll be the one who's not giving a damn about old school death metal.
Well, no, this is what's cool about having different generations, on streams like that. We could talk about, like, different styles of metal we're into or what we grew up on or what we experienced.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, me being more of a you're basically a late bloomer to the metal.
A late boomer.
Starting to
late boomer, yeah, exactly.
A teenager, I was liking that. I was liking bands like Cannibal Corpse, Dying Fetus, Jumper Cowboy, some of those heavier bands. But as I've gotten older, whereas I still appreciate listening to those albums every once in a while, get nostalgia that this was something I liked when I was like a young kid. I know 21 or 22 is a kid age, but I consider that a kid age in some cases.
I gotta get going, guys.
As I gotten older,
all right, man. Thanks for joining us, Xavier, and take care, bro.
See ya.
Later.
Yep.
But yeah, as I got a little bit older,
go ahead and chat, man. I'm gonna take it.
More metalcore, progressive metal, and yeah, basically. Oh. Yeah, he'll be right back, everybody. If anybody's still in the chat, let me know since Ben's not here. You're back.
All right, I'm back. So, all right, yeah. But as far as metalcore goes, the first time I heard metalcore would have been around 1999, I believe. Nah, maybe 2000. It was around 2000 before it exploded in popularity. I mean, the first bands I heard were Shadows Fall and Lamb of God before they were huge. Well, before Lamb of God became massive. New America, yeah, I'm trying to think. New American Gospel was just coming out when I first heard Lamb of God. And at the time, I thought, okay, this metalcore stuff's a bit different sounding, And at the time, I'm really sick of the new metal shit and all the alternative metal crap that's coming out. I'm kind of wanting something different. I mean, I was already delving into underground stuff too at that time anyways, especially a lot of European power metal. And I'm starting to really get into black metal around that time too. But this metalcore just came out of nowhere for me. And it's in an issue of Metal Maniac magazine where I discovered metalcore with Lamb of God. Diecast would have been another early band. And, Shadows Fall. And at the time, I really enjoyed it. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is kind of like a combination of, like, thrash metal and hard... Well, it's like thrash metal... I mean, thrash metal was always a combination of, the new wave of British heavy metal and hardcore punk anyways, for the most part. So the new wave of British heavy metal, metalcore was kind of like the same cross, but maybe a little more hardcore. They took more of the hardcore influences, I think, in metalcore early on. Of course, later on...
The early stages of metalcore was more of that hardcore influence that became, the style it would end up being.
And plus, they were putting an influence of melodic Gothenburg death metal in their sound, too. They were definitely using influences from At the Gates and In Flames and Soil Work and Dark Tranquility. You can definitely hear that in early metalcore. When it pertains to the lead guitar work, with the with the twin harmonic guitar works, or the twin harmonic guitar leads, and the melodic vocals that they would use in the choruses. That's kind of lifted from melodic death metal to an extent. Now, some of the melodic vocals are actually lifted from alternative metal. So yeah, there is a little bit of alternative metal thrown in metalcore.
Yeah.
But when I first heard it though, I was really into it for at least 2 years straight. Because then I started listening to bands like Chimera. When Trivium first came out, I was really into them. And there's other bands too that I can't really think of at the moment. I think Every Time I Die is one of the bands. Devil Driver, when Devil Driver was coming up after, Cold Chamber had pretty much went on hiatus or broke up. I was really into them. So yeah, there was and obviously when Killswitch Engage came out, which I was fortunate enough to find Killswitch Engage when they were coming up too, before they blew up and became pretty big. So it's kind of cool that I grew up in the early days of metalcore, and got to see and hear these bands. Well, not necessarily see them play live or anything, but to hear them before anybody really knew who they were. Yeah, that was a really interesting time for me because Metal Maniac really got me into a lot of those underground bands. That's how I found out about a lot of melodic death metal too, how I got into In Flames. Before they...
I want to say this. Is there still some of those metalcore bands you listen to this day?
Every once in a while, I will listen to a Shadows Fall song. So Shadows Fall, I will listen to every once in a while. Diecast, I might play every once in a while too. But yeah, as far as metalcore goes, there's not much of it I listen to anymore. Now, I don't think metalcore is completely a terrible genre of music at all.
No.
Now, you got to remember, too, the originators of metalcore were probably Converge. Converge was one of the very first metalcore bands to come out. And they definitely had a different vibe and influence to what they were doing when they were coming up. So I don't think...
They were one of those that I was looking at. I'm like, okay, they are more... one of those that I definitely think to myself, yeah, they're more of those. I won't say they were an influence. I would say the other, but I guess the more recent way where it has the bigger bands, Killswitch, All That Remains. I guess you could throw in Shadows Fall, As I Lay Dying. Some of those bands in there as kind of those that were part of, I guess you could say, the second wave of metalcore.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention All That Remains. That's another band I heard right in the beginning too, All That Remains. It's kind of weird how I heard them. There was this
the first time I heard about them was seeing them in a magazine.
Yeah, same here. Now All That Remains,
they were. I think it was. It might have been Metal Edge when it was doing its last magazine, and I saw that in it, and I think the album they were promoting for them was Overcome. And I remember listening to it and was like, holy fucking shit, where's this been? Holy fuck.
The first time I heard them it was right when their first album came out back in 2001. And it's weird how I heard them. There used to be a Canadian metal magazine called Brave Words Bloody Knuckles. Excellent magazine. I wish it was still around. But unfortunately, in this day and age of the internet, the magazines are pretty much gone. Unfortunately. But anyways, this magazine, right? Every issue came with a free CD. And on the CDs, you got a sample of a bunch of different bands. So I found out about a lot of bands through that magazine. And all that remains was on one of the compilation CDs. I forget which track it is right now, but it's on their first album. And I couldn't believe it. I thought these guys sounded killer. They kind of had a melodic death metal sound back then. Actually, they were more melodic death metal sounding as opposed to metalcore on that first album. Because the riffs in this really sounded like At the Gates or, At the Gates or, there's another band I'm trying to think of here. Ceremonial Oath. And I really got into that band at the time before they really blew up and become something. And Phil Lombardi, the vocalist from All That Remains, is actually the original vocalist of Shadows Fall.
Yeah,
Yep.
Phil Lombardi. Yeah, he was before.
Yeah, Phil Lombardi.
I think it was Brian Flair took over.
Mm-hmm. And back then he just sang.
Started All That Remains as, I guess, more of a side project. Aside from
Maybe at first.
Fall, and then I think they might have either that or he might have left and started his own band and got obviously Ollie, rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that all went down. But yeah, it's pretty
over the Shadows Fall thing after Phil got, ousted from the band. Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, Phil was only on the debut album by Shadows Fall.
Yeah.
Which I used to have, and I don't have that in anymore. I wish I still had it. It's actually a really good album. Probably Shadows Fall's most melodic death metal sounding album, too. It's a really interesting time going back and looking at them early metalcore bands, though, and their beginnings, Because at that time, too, you had the melodic death metal scene coming up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Just a lot of really interesting stuff when you go back and look at the history of it all. And, that's pretty much how I first heard All That Remains, was through that Brave Words Bloody Knuckles magazine back in 2001. And I remember hearing Kill Switch Engage, too, back when they first came out. And thinking, oh, man, these guys sound pretty killer. So, yeah, there was a time where I was really into the metalcore stuff. As I Lay Dying, I heard when their first album came out, So, yeah, I definitely got to experience the metalcore thing back in the 2000s. I think for me, what got me out of metalcore is, too many bands. I thought the bands were just getting worse. Like, the production was getting too clean, the music was getting way too melodic and more commercialized. That's why I kind of got out of metalcore. Because in the beginning, it wasn't really that way.
Yeah. Okay, I think I got to get going, fill up this, and maybe take care of some other stuff. But yeah, I think we need to wrap it up at least. Yeah,
we're going to wrap up the stream anyways. We've gone
about an hour.
Over an hour anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, we... anyways, yes. That's it for this stream. This episode of Damage Chronicles, episode 5. Brought to you by... I gotta get used to that camera angle.
Pabst
Blue Ribbon Beer. So cheers to everybody out there. Cheers to everybody that's liking these episodes so far. We're going to keep doing this. The episodes will get better.
Yep.
You got to remember, guys, when we do these episodes, they're not scripted. We don't write scripts. This is all off key, man. This is us being us. But anyways, we're going to sign out for now, and Stay tuned for some more here on Metal Bench Chronicles. And stay tuned for that Morticide interview tomorrow night at 9 p.m. with Josh Dominus. All right, guys. Thanks to Xavier from Sadistic Oppressor for joining us. And as always, the Damage Chronicles is signing out. And like we say here, Ryan, what do we say? Keep
things metal.
Metal. We'll get it right one day. All right, guys.
We'll see y'all later.